Forget everything you think you know about becoming a millionaire, because I'm about to show you how a stupid, simple $50 rule that has nothing to do with budgeting is quietly creating more millionaires than all the side hustles in crypto combined. This isn't about cutting lattes or eating rice and beans. This is about a mathematical principle so powerful that once you understand it, you'll realize why 90% of people stay broke while the other 10% build massive wealth doing something that takes literally 5 minutes per month. The craziest part? The wealthy have been using this $50 rule for decades while everyone else is out here making vision boards and manifestation journals. What's up everyone, Ryan here from Ryan Invest, and today I'm revealing the $50 rule that transformed my financial life and has created more millionaires than any budget ever will. See, budgets are like diets. They work temporarily until you inevitably fail and end up worse than before. But this $50 rule is different because it's not about restriction, it's about automatic wealth building that happens whether you're disciplined or not. If you're tired of complicated financial advice that makes you feel like a failure, subscribe right now because this rule is so simple, a 10-year-old could execute it. And hit that like button because the algorithm needs to spread this instead of another dropshipping scam. Let me start with why budgets are complete garbage for building wealth. According to a study by US Bank, only 41% of Americans use a budget, and of those who do, 73% fail to stick to it consistently. You know why? Because budgets are about deprivation. They're about telling yourself no constantly. They're about tracking every penny like some financial masochist. Meanwhile, the average millionaire doesn't budget, they automate. They don't track expenses, they make saving and investing involuntary. That's where the $50 rule comes in. Here's the rule that will literally change your life. Every single expense in your life, every bill, every subscription, every payment, you immediately and automatically invest $50 for every one that exists. Got Netflix? That triggers a $50 automatic investment. Phone bill? Another $50 investment. Rent payment? $50 investment. The average American has 11 recurring bills, which means $550 per month automatically invested, without thinking, without budgeting, without any willpower required. Now you're probably thinking, Ryan, that's just forced saving with extra steps. Wrong. This is psychological warfare against your own broke mindset. When you tie investing to spending, you create a mental link between consumption and wealth building. Every time you pay for something, you're also paying your future self. It's not about the amount, it's about the system. The $50 is arbitrary but powerful because it's enough to matter but not enough to hurt. Let me show you the math that'll blow your mind. The average person has these recurring monthly expenses: rent or mortgage, utilities, phone, internet, car payment, insurance, Netflix, Spotify, gym, Amazon Prime, and at least one more subscription. That's 11 triggers for the $50 rule, meaning $550 per month invested automatically. Over 30 years at 10% returns, the S&P 500 average, that becomes $1,139,629. You literally become a millionaire from a rule that takes 30 minutes to set up. But here's where it gets insane. The $50 rule has a compound effect on your behavior. When you know every bill triggers a $50 investment, you become selective about what bills you take on. Thinking about adding HBO Max? That's not just $15 per month anymore, it's $65 per month with the rule. Suddenly, you're conscious about subscriptions. Want to upgrade your car payment? That's still just one $50 trigger, whether the payment is $300 or $600. The rule makes you optimize for fewer, better expenses rather than death by 1,000 cuts. The psychology behind why this works is brilliant. Behavioral economists call it a commitment device. You're pre-committing to invest before you have a chance to talk yourself out of it. It's like Ulysses tying himself to the mast to resist the sirens. You're admitting you're weak and building a system that doesn't require strength. The average person makes 35,000 decisions a day, according to Cornell research. The $50 rule eliminates thousands of investment decisions by making them automatic. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 28-year-old teacher making $52,000 per year who thought he'd never be rich. He implemented the $50 rule in January 2019. His 12 monthly bills triggered $600 in automatic investments. He didn't budget, didn't track expenses, didn't deprive himself, he just let the rule run. By December 2023, less than 5 years later, his investment account had $43,000. Not from raises, not from side hustles, but from a simple rule that required zero ongoing effort. Now let's talk about the multiplier effect. Once the base $50 rule is running, you can add modifiers. Get a raise? Increase each trigger to $60. Bonus at work? Double the rule for that month. Tax refund? That's a 10x month where each trigger becomes $500. The average person who implements these multipliers reaches $100,000 invested within 7 years instead of the standard 10 to 12 years. The traditional financial advice of save 10% of your income is garbage because it's tied to your income. Make less, save less. But the $50 rule doesn't care about your income. It cares about your expenses, which you control. A person making $30,000 with 6 bills, that's $300 per month, is investing 12% of their gross income. A person making $100,000 with 15 bills, that's $750 per month, is investing 9%. The rule scales with lifestyle, not income. Here's what's hilarious. Rich people have been doing versions of this forever. They call it paying yourself first, but they make it sound complicated. Warren Buffett says, don't save what's left after spending, spend what's left after saving. That's literally the $50 rule. Every billionaire automates their investing, but financial gurus make it sound like you need spreadsheets and apps and coaches. You don't. You need automatic transfers triggered by your existing bills. The implementation is stupidly simple. Open a brokerage account at Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. Set up automatic transfers of $50 for the day after each bill is due and invest everything in VOO or VTI, Total Market Index funds. That's it. No research, no stock picking, no timing the market. The entire setup takes 30 minutes and then runs forever. The average person spends more time choosing a TV show to watch than setting up a system that makes them a millionaire. But people will find every excuse not to do this. I don't have an extra $550 per month. Really? The average American spends $308 per month eating out, according to BLS data. You're telling me you can't find $550 when you're blowing $300 on mediocre restaurant food? The average person spends $1,497 per year on coffee. That's $125 per month on bean water. You have the money, you just value temporary pleasure over permanent wealth. The $50 rule also exposes your real financial priorities. Can't do a $50 per bill? Start with $25. Still too much? Do $10. The point isn't the amount, it's the system. But if you can't invest $10 per bill automatically, you don't have an income problem, you have a spending problem. The average person who says they can't afford the $50 rule has a $600 car payment and $200 in subscriptions they don't use. Let's destroy the common objections. What if I need that money for emergencies? That's what emergency funds are for. Build a $1,000 emergency fund first, then implement the rule. What if the market crashes? Perfect. You'll be buying more shares at lower prices. Dollar cost averaging through crashes is how you build serious wealth. What if I have debt? If it's high interest debt above 7%, pay that first. But if it's a mortgage at 3% or student loans at 4%, the $50 rule will likely outperform the interest rate. The opportunity cost of not doing this is staggering. Every year you delay costs you approximately $100,000 in retirement wealth. Start the $50 rule at 25, you're a millionaire by 55. Start at 35, you hit it by 65. Start at 45, you might hit 500,000 by 70. But start at 55, you're looking at maybe 200,000 by 70. Time is the most valuable asset in investing, and you're wasting it overthinking instead of implementing. Here's a pro tip that amplifies everything. Stack the $50 rule with credit card rewards. Put all your bills on a 2% cashback card, pay it off monthly, invest the rewards. The average person with 11 bills at $150 each generates $33 per month in rewards. That's another $396 per year invested. Over 30 years, just the rewards become $72,000. You're literally getting paid to pay bills that trigger investments. The tax optimization is beautiful too. Do the $50 little Roth IRA first. Max $583 per month in 2024. Your $1 million becomes tax-free. The government can't touch it. If you max the Roth, overflow into a regular brokerage account. The average person using the $50 rule in a Roth IRA saves $200,000 plus in taxes over their lifetime compared to regular investing. Now let's talk about what happens when you hit critical mass. Around $100,000 invested, the returns start exceeding your contributions. Your money makes more money than you're adding. At $200,000, a 10% year adds $20,000. That's more than many people save annually. At $500,000, you're adding $50,000 per year just in growth. This is when wealth building accelerates exponentially and you realize the $50 rule was just the catalyst for something much bigger. The social pressure against the $50 rule is real. Your broke friends will say you're obsessive, your family will say you should live a little. Society wants you consuming, not investing. The average person is influenced by other average people to stay average.
But look at their results. 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, according to Lending Club. Do you want their results or do you want millions? The data on automated investing is undeniable. Vanguard found that people who automate their 401k contributions save 50% more than those who manually contribute. Fidelity discovered that automated investors are 3 times more likely to reach retirement goals. The $50 rule is automation on steroids because it ties to your actual life, not some arbitrary percentage. Here's what separates the $50 rule from every other wealth-building strategy. It requires no ongoing discipline. Budgets require daily discipline. Side hustles require constant work. Real estate requires active management. But the $50 rule? Set it once and forget it. The average person fails at wealth building because they rely on willpower. The $50 rule assumes you have no willpower and builds wealth anyway.
Let me show you the levels of the $50 rule, because once you master the basics, you can amplify this into something absolutely insane. Level 1 is the basic rule, $50 per bill. Level 2 is the percentage modifier. Instead of a flat $50, you invest 33% of each bill's amount. So your $1,500 rent triggers a $500 investment. Your $100 phone bill triggers $33. This scales with your lifestyle automatically. Level 3 is the category multiplier. Essential bills trigger $50, luxury bills trigger $100. Netflix is luxury, so that's $100. Utilities are essential, so that's $50. The math on level 2 is mind-blowing. The average American's monthly bills total about $3,500 per month. Using the 33% modifier, that's $1,155 invested monthly. Over 30 years at 10%, that's $2.4 million. But here's the kicker. As your bills increase with inflation, so do your investments. Your rent goes from $1,500 to $2,000 over time. Your investment automatically increases from $500 to $667. The system scales with the economy without you doing anything. Sarah implemented level 3 in 2020. She had 6 essential bills, $300 per month, and 5 luxury subscriptions, $500 per month. Total, $800 automated monthly. But here's what happened. Knowing luxury bills cost double in investments, she cut 3 subscriptions. Now she had 6 essential, $300, and 2 luxury, $200, for $500 total. But she kept the $800 investment rate. She gamed her own system and accelerated her wealth building by 60%. This is the psychological magic. The rule makes you optimize without feeling deprived. The corporate match equivalent is insane. Many employers match 401k contributions up to 3 to 6% of salary. The $50 rule is like giving yourself a 100% match on every bill. Your Netflix costs $15 but triggers $50 in investing. That's a 333% match. Your brain starts seeing bills as wealth-building opportunities instead of money leaving your account. The average person implementing this reports feeling excited about paying bills for the first time in their lives. That's not an exaggeration. It's a complete psychological transformation. Let's talk about the hidden wealth transfer happening right under your nose. Every company billing you monthly has calculated your lifetime value. Netflix knows you'll pay them for 7 years average. That's $1,260 they're extracting from you. Your gym knows you'll pay for 2 years, even though you'll stop going after 3 months. That's $1,200. They're extracting predictable wealth from you using behavioral psychology and your own laziness. The $50 rule hijacks their extraction for your benefit. You're turning their recurring revenue model into your recurring investment model. The compound interest math is what separates millionaires from everyone else. Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world, and whether he actually said it doesn't matter because it's true. At 10% returns, money doubles every 7.2 years. Your $50,000 invested at age 30 becomes $100,000 at 37, $200,000 at 44, $400,000 at 51, $800,000 at 58, and $1.6 million at 65. Most people see linear growth. Add $50,000 plus $50,000 plus $50,000. Winners see exponential growth. $50,000 times 2 times 2 times 2. But here's what nobody talks about. The $50 rule changes your entire relationship with money. You stop seeing bills as money leaving and start seeing them as wealth triggers. You stop feeling guilty about necessary expenses because each one builds your future. The average person implementing this reports reduced financial anxiety within 60 days because they know every bill is simultaneously making them richer. It's the opposite of budgeting, which creates anxiety through deprivation. The automation stack is crucial for success. Here's the exact technical setup. Your paycheck hits your checking account via direct deposit. Your bills auto-pay from checking on their due dates. Each bill triggers a scheduled transfer to your investment brokerage account the next day. The investment account auto-invests in your chosen index fund, weekly or monthly. 4 layers of automation means 0 decision fatigue. The average person makes 35,000 decisions daily, according to Cornell Research. The $50 rule eliminates thousands of them permanently. Let me destroy the "I'll start when I make more money" excuse with real numbers. John started the $50 rule at age 23, making only $35,000 per year. By 30, he had $58,000 invested. His friend Mike waited until he made $70,000 at age 30 to start investing. By 40, John had $241,000 despite starting with half the salary. Mike had $139,000 despite making double. 7 years of compound interest beats 7 years of higher salary. Time beats money every single time in investing. Starting is more important than the amount. The lifestyle design aspect is genius and subtle. Want to travel more? Great. But every recurring travel expense, like travel insurance, triggers $50 invested. Want a fancy car? Cool. But the car payment is still just one $50 trigger, whether it's a $300 Honda payment or an $800 BMW payment. The rule naturally pushes you towards experiences over recurring expenses because one-time purchases don't create permanent investment triggers. The average $50 ruler becomes minimalist not through discipline, but through systematic financial incentives. Here's the wealth velocity principle that accelerates everything. Traditional savers think linearly. Save $500 per month, have $6,000 per year. But the $50 rule creates velocity and momentum. Month 1, you invest $550. Month 12, you have $6,600 plus market returns of maybe $300. Year 5, your investment returns start matching your contributions. Year 10, your portfolio growth exceeds your total annual contributions. Year 20, you're adding $100,000 plus annually just in market growth without contributing anything extra. The velocity becomes unstoppable. The market crash advantage is completely counterintuitive. Everyone fears crashes, but $50 rulers should pray for them. Why? Because you're buying every single month regardless of market conditions. A 30% crash means you're buying shares 30% cheaper with your automated purchases. The 2020 COVID crash, $50 rulers who kept the system running saw 100% returns in 18 months as the market recovered. The average person panic sold at the bottom and locked in permanent losses. The $50 ruler bought the whole way down and the whole way up automatically. Let's talk about the stealth wealth effect. Nobody knows you're doing the $50 rule. You're not that annoying person constantly talking about their budget and refusing to go out. You're not publicly depriving yourself or making everyone uncomfortable. You're just living your life, paying your bills normally, and getting rich quietly in the background. The average millennial next door looks completely normal because they use invisible systems like this. Not because they're cheap or miserable, they're secretly wealthy while everyone else is publicly broke. The bill audit that happens naturally is beautiful and unexpected. Month 1 of implementing the $50 rule, you might have 15 bills triggering $750 in monthly investments. By month 6, you've naturally cut down to 9 bills and $450 in triggers, but you keep investing the full $750 because you realize most subscriptions are complete garbage that you don't use. The rule forces conscious consumption without feeling like deprivation. You're not cutting expenses to save money, you're optimizing your trigger count to reduce inefficiency. Here's the retirement math that'll make you angry at everyone who told you budgeting was the answer. The average American retires with $280,000 in total savings at age 67, according to the Federal Reserve data. The $50 rule started at age 25, produces $1.1 million by age 55. You retire 12 years earlier with 4 times the money by following a simple automated rule instead of complicated budgets that make you miserable. The entire financial advisory industry exists because people think building wealth is complicated. It's not. It's just automated discipline. The inflation hedge built into the system is perfect for long-term wealth.
Your bills naturally increase with inflation over time. Rent goes up, utilities increase, insurance premiums rise, which means your investments automatically increase with inflation too. Traditional saving advice says invest $500 forever, which gets destroyed by inflation. The $50 rule says invest proportional to your cost of living. In 20 years, when bills are...
Let me show you the levels of the $50 rule, because once you master the basics, you can amplify this into something absolutely insane. Level 1 is the basic rule, $50 per bill. Level 2 is the percentage modifier. Instead of flat $50, you invest 33% of each bill's amount. So your $1,500 rent triggers a $500 investment. Your $100 phone bill triggers $33. This scales with your lifestyle automatically. Level 3 is the category multiplier. Essential bills trigger $50, luxury bills trigger $100. Netflix is luxury, so that's $100. Utilities are essential, so that's $50. The math on level 2 is mind-blowing. The average American's monthly bills total about $3,500. Using the 33% modifier, that's $1,155 invested monthly. Over 30 years at 10%, that's $2.4 million. But here's the kicker. As your bills increase with inflation, so do your investments. Your rent goes from $1,500 to $2,000 over time. Your investment automatically increases from $500 to $667. The system scales with the economy without you doing anything. Sarah implemented level 3 in 2020. She had 6 essential bills, $300 per month, and 5 luxury subscriptions, $500 per month. Total $800 automated monthly. But here's what happened. Knowing luxury bills cost double in investments, she cut